Yo guys, it's Psych Maestro. It's been a while talaga since my last video and I want to talk about my situation and how it reflects to our situation in general. So we know the situation na we're afflicted by the COVID-19 pandemic. It's really problematic kasi maraming biktima, merong victims of the illness, and also yung family nag-cope because they have a family member who's suffering from that illness, and also other things like being trapped in a foreign country or an other place, and also being wala silang walang trabaho, hindi sila makapagtrabaho dahil sa because of the adjustments that we have to make in order to be safe from this pandemic. So ang daming problems talaga, and I want to talk about these problems in a psychological perspective, specifically sa framework ni Abraham Maslow. Abraham Maslow postulated the hierarchy of needs, which is for the first need would be, and the lowest need would be physiological need. Physiological need is our need to eat, sleep, drink, and for our body, needs of our body to breathe and etc. And the second would be safety needs, which is the our need to be safe and secure from threats to have a secure and stable life, and to be free from threats like earthquake, terrorism, and also this pandemic, and more on that later. The third need would be love and belongingness, which is our need to connect with other people, establish relationships, and to give and receive love. The fourth need would be our need for esteem needs, which is the need to gain respect and have self-worth and self-respect and reputation that we receive from how other people perceive us. So that would be the esteem needs. And the fifth would be the self-actualization need, which is the need to self-actualize, to realize our potentials. According to Maslow, what human beings can be, they must be. So in other words, if we can be a great artist, we must be a great artist. If we can be a great YouTuber, we must be a great YouTuber. If we can be a great lecturer, we must be a great lecturer. We must not betray our destiny, parang ganun, because somehow our destiny is ingrained in us also. So the last need above the self-actualization need, which is medyo hindi siya commonly recognized since hindi siya lumalabas much sa textbooks, but I have read a paper justifying how this need came about, which is the need for self-transcendence, meaning to go over and beyond ourselves, to transcend and to have ideals that are greater than us, parang ganun. That's the need for self-transcendence. So those are basically the needs according to Abraham Maslow, according to his studies and to his published works. But I would like to focus on the first two needs, which is the physiological and the safety, which is the threat that COVID-19 poses to us. So the first would be physiological. The problem of physiological needs, for example, kailangan natin kumain, kailangan natin meron tayong enough na water, and mga ganon, resources in short. So the problem in terms of resources would be the problem of income. For example, merong ibang workers na hindi talaga makapag-work dahil sa pandemic. For example, merong protocol of community quarantine na protocol that would prevent them from continuing their jobs. And if prevented sila from continuing their jobs, halted ang kanilang salary. And since if halted ang kanilang salary, they would have trouble in maintaining their physiological needs, which is ang response ng government would be the SAF or the social amelioration, yung ganon, social amelioration funds, yung ganon, in order for them to for some of us to satisfy that need. And the second threat would be the safety need, which is we are under threat For example, we don't feel safe, and this is more true for others than for some, because mas grabe yung situation sa ibang places and compared to others. For example, dito sa place namin from Kapalong, hindi masyadong madaming cases compared sa Davao, Manila, and other heavily populated areas, parang ganun. So, yun, what would be the implications and the ramifications of this disease? I would say that the main attack of this disease would be our psychological aspect, which is the lowest. And hindi siya lowest because it is least needed, but it's lowest in the sense that it is most essential for us to survive. Pero yun yung subsistence muna. Kailangan natin survive. And if we're able to survive, we're able to kanang pursue greater needs. But we can't pursue greater needs if hindi yun na-satisfy yung needs. For example, hindi ka what would be the greater priority? Would it be love or eating? Kung gutom ka, kung wala kang pera pang kain, what would be the greater priority? Probably the greater priority would be eating enough food and in order to survive. Love would come after kanang sufficient na tayo dyan na need, parang ganun. So that would be one of the things that we must consider in terms sa ating needs. So I would say na hindi easy ang situation natin, and many are coping, many are trying. The government is playing their part, and also meron ding bumabatikos kasi according to them, the government is not playing their part enough, or they're not exerting enough effort. But I won't dwell on that topic, but rather I would focus more on our needs, which is how could we cope in these needs. For satisfying these needs, I can't give an easy solution, but I would rather give a message for those struggling. And I could say na in terms sa pag-handle ng problem nito, one word would come to mind, which is Diskarte. When during yung time na nagmamasteral ako, I came across a paper I would put down the link below, discussing Diskarte. And what Diskarte is sort of a word that could be linked to creativeness and practical intelligence, parang ganun. Practically dealing with your situation right now, parang ganun. Or creative, or ito, mas concise ito na definition, creative problem solving, but it goes much more deeper than that, and it also has a cultural background, kasi parang ganun, meron siyang cultural background in the Filipino setting. So I would say Diskarte talaga, dahil the situation is not really structured. We don't have a set goal. I don't think that this problem is an well-defined problem. Rather, it's ill-defined. And since ill-defined siya, we are forced to use our creative problem solving in order to solve the problem. For example, some people resort to online selling. Some people resort to engaging in home-based businesses and other things. And hindi naman lahat na yan ang answer, pero it's a good enough answer for the meantime. For example, some are engaging in webinars, some are engaging in online businesses, etc., etc. And it could be one way. Pero I would say that because one of the contexts of Diskarte would be necessity. So if we need it, our need would activate that psychological construct. For example, if we need something na in order to survive, that need would that construct, or that psychological component would activate. And I would say na that hindi lang that's hindi ko lang ibibigay na Diskarte, it's all the solution, blah blah blah, but I would rather say that we must look towards ourselves. Parang practical na ito. How could we capitalize on Diskarte? If we want to capitalize on Diskarte, we must look onto ourselves in terms of our strengths. How could we use our strengths? How could we use our intelligence, our capital, our extra money, our creative skills in order to profit from it, in order to satisfy the needs that we need to satisfy. So, we must reflect kung anong pwede nating gawin. We must reflect kung anong skills natin that could be applied in order to deal with the situation, because this situation is not easy, especially for others na who are really struggling, because I can't say that na grabing struggle namin dito, but I can indeed say that for other people, they are struggling more than us. And for those people, I would just say to you that try to make your way through this. Although I may be just a stranger to you, but I would say na we must really try, even if now hindi natin exactly alam kung ano yung forward, but kung ano yung ahead, even if we don't know what's ahead of us, we must try to cope with this situation. And I know it's hard. I don't have a really specific guidelines, but realize that this situation is quoted as the new normal, because it shifts our paradigm, it shifts our norms in some way that is new to us, and sometimes new is often a threat to safety and stability. But realize that new is also a gateway for creativity, for opportunities. So even if na this is a difficult situation, we must look at a certain way of how to capitalize from this situation, because for every problem there is an opportunity, and that's where Diskarte would play in. So yun guys. So thank you for watching. This is Psych Maestro. Hopefully I would upload more videos soon, and hopefully this message somehow inspires you or moves you in a way. So please like and subscribe, and comment down below kung meron kayong thoughts with regard to my message. And thank you guys. Psych Maestro out.